Hi everybody, my name is Taylor Guerra and I'm going to be doing my video assignment for class language and communication theory. So, since my last name begins with a G, I was assigned chapter 5 and the concept that I chose to go over was communication theory now, and more specifically I'm going to be talking about the environmental paradigm shift. So I will be discussing exactly what happened in the environmental shift and how it applies to us, and then I'm going to be giving an example from my everyday life. So, what exactly is the environmental paradigm shift? So, it's actually a wonderful example of how communication theory has shifted in America over the years. So, I grabbed an excerpt from my textbook and it says, not long ago, those concerned about environmental issues were considered minority or fringe groups, and as a result, many of their concerns were dismissed. Yet today, environmental concerns have so infiltrated the mainstream that it is now so trendy to be an environmentalist. And there's also an excerpt, and it says, there's been a paradigm shift in society away from thinking of the earth as an unending source of resources to instead looking at it as a wider living ecosystem that we are slowly killing. So, the shift is very evident in popular movies to eco-friendly products, from international and political treaties regarding environmental policies to waste management strategies for smaller communities. So, how exactly does this tie in with modern American communication theories? So, the environmental paradigm shift is a great example of how the most recent generations in America are becoming more and more liberal, almost to the point of where it is trendy to be liberal. So, the liberal viewpoints stand for more than just the environment. Some points that have also become more trendy to support our individual rights, supporting free market, free trade, limited government, and we are currently seeing capitalism labeled as a disease, and some rights for gender equality and racial equality, and many, many more. But tying back on one of the viewpoints, I'm going to tie this in with racial equality, is the recent tragic murder of George Floyd and the injustice of Breonna Taylor. So this is an example of how, I'm going to be giving examples of how the Black Lives Matter movement has become trendy. So there are posts such as Blackout Tuesday, hashtag Blackout Tuesday, and what those do is you are supposed to post just a plain black square on Instagram, on Twitter, and so that is an example of how it's become trendy. And there are also teens that have been using riots as areas to do photo shoots. So this is an example of how the youngest generation of America is using liberal viewpoints and turning them into trends. So this is going back on the theory that we are currently experiencing a phenomenon where communication theory is making a shift into a new age. Now, I am not saying that all these viewpoints are going to merely die out because they are trends, but I am saying that Generation Z are becoming more involved in politics at such a young age, and the most current viewpoints to be educated on are the liberal viewpoints. All in all, the environmental paradigm shift is tied into one of those trends of young liberal America. So, getting back on topic, I'm going to be giving an example from my everyday life that perfectly represents the environmental paradigm shift. So, I actually have a friend who's majoring in environmental sciences here at UTSA, and she has a huge green thumb. She cares about the planet, she cares about animals, she recycles. Well, one day, me and her were just hanging out, and we were having a conversation, and she started talking to me about her parents, and I was really surprised to know that her parents don't even believe in global warming. So it just really makes you wonder how she even came to obtain these viewpoints, and it makes you wonder if the people who didn't raise her, or the people who raised her didn't express those viewpoints on her, how she was even able to obtain them. So I was thinking that as technology is becoming so much more accessible in modern America, Gen Z is educating each other and expressing shared viewpoints through social media, technology, etc. And this also ties back in with how certain viewpoints are becoming trendy, because we all become educated on certain viewpoints and current events at the same time, and then we discuss those amongst our peers, whether it be in person or over social media. So in conclusion, today I talked about the environmental paradigm shift. I explained what it was, how it ties in with modern communication theories, and I gave an example from my everyday life. So I hope that this video helped educate you a little bit more on that. Thank you very much for your time.